crossover, purification, existential, citadel, reflexive, temperate, noticeably, systematically, husky, synthesizer, majestic, immersive, unnoticed, abundant, refuel, adhere, aeronautic, alpine, presumably, earthworm, electrify, quantify, quantitative, tester, magma, overhear, wrench, retrieval, sophistication, confetti, anonymity, aerosol, anatomy, cornea, protected, carrying, enterprise, muse, obligate, stifle, cookstove, apocalyptic, sanitize, polarization, terrace, indispensable, treadle, overcrowd, coughing, reorganization, pap, distortion, supervisory, irritate, prawn, broth, ale, funnel, required, abnormally, cactus, birdsong, bartender, fermented, heap, centerpiece, initiate, haunted, enormously, melatonin, razor, cleanser, punishable, bathrobe, misunderstand, unpublished, seamstress, ointment, sterilization, den, polster, remission, elastic, uplifting, detergent, tofu, tread, crossroad, favorably, Auckland, bipolar, nostalgia, schoolhouse, hilarious, passionately, Hector, bilingualism, keen, pal, unattractive, exacerbate, electrician, academia, untold, politeness, socioeconomic, manner, greenfield, bland, disagreeable, nonpartisan, fluency, unnecessarily, stepfather, postgraduate, hilltop, birds, relevance, fascinated, unwavere, bureaucracy, divorced, consequential, nonetheless, schoolroom, ratification, tradesman, manifesto, intimacy, encrypted, loophole, distributor, limousine, unjustified, buffet, dispensary, bookseller, barista, lance, organically, demoic, doomsday, rotational, jeweler, sod, tourniquet, curd, coliseum, haft, nip, Budweiser, blinding, sane, nonfiction, strangeness, staircase, reformation, whitewash, nirvana, unanimous, homophone, winding, reaffirm, rookie, greed, midpoint, cuff, crotch, digging, immigrants, seam, centennial, demolition, squadron, linking, gab, hemophilia, elusive, tentacle, swoon, hereby, businessmen, avant, blatant, manslaughter, collude, horrendous, harbor place, defiant, omelet, fiasco, motherland, inauthentic, ammonium, rampant, apprentice, flap, expanse, radiate, hatchery, controlling, earthy, industrialization, intuitive, developers, playback, mariner, staggering, vivid, vaporize, emergence, chlorophyll, magnetism, increased, intact, chairperson, urbanization, autonomously, overture, punitive, driveway, royalist, powerfully, immovable, chipmunk, onset, Aquarius, tempting, methodology, porous, coincide, wink, charger, nostril, excitedly, eddy, stormquake, buds, vanish, jigsaw, suited, aerogel, resale, unintentional, propagate, rector, caesarean, binder, checkout, crest, feedstock, greens, duplicate, diagram, versatile, audible, flights, narcissistic, transcend, raindrop, periscope, sluggish, restful, etiquette, bingo, fracturing, buckle, potent, resourceful, blister. Visibility, lullaby, emanate, egregious, lit, carcinogen, sizable, holographic, illiteracy, elective. Don't, forced, pavement, articles, microbicide, communities, ferrous, simian, sprinkle, millet. Glioblastoma, visitation, psychic, brood, lovingly, hand-washing, informative, kissing, mingle, 4. Invincible, mildly, immunotherapy, emphysema, acquired, generalize, unfounded, incurable, neurosurgeon, digestion. Rusty, clover, precursor, seldom, napping, needlessly, agony, stylist, childbur, obsessive. Psycho, inadequate, wallflower, simultaneously, stomp, epileptic, prestige, substantially, ridicule, intellectually. Stride, tally, retarded, chickenpox, felicity, macular, actors, reckon, assimilate, assimilation. Chileans, linguistics, nanny, synchronous, instructional, frenzy, patriarchal, divestment, mediocre, domestically. Occupancy, budgetary, perpetrate, blacken, correctional, dialogue, road, liberalism, toughness, introductory. Compatriot, plagiarize, tenet, hesitant, pesky, a while, banquet, abate, playfulness, checkbook. Sufficiently, chartered, blunt, devalue, imperialist, bleak, constitutionality, vigilance, showroom, melamine. Droop, popularly, salinity, lactate, dinslage, insects, aquaponics, cattleman, warden, unconditionally. Suction, biodiesel, bromide, grasshopper, errand, celebratory, thoroughbred, dystopian, cello, raffle. Virginian, cinematography, saga, intrigue, enslavement, uninformed, favorite, demolish, bookmaker, abhorrent. Appetizer, snug, falling water, nude, limbo, vocalist, cowgirl, bondage, glee, scarlet. Beeline, sensational, sensual, joking, grunt, churchman, graphene, subsequent, formaldehyde, kettle. Labyrinth, devastation, ceramist, expressionism, hazy, clan, unbelievably, sonnet, lawmaking, tiara. Sedition, Goldwater, mercenary, oxen, nullification, valor, appalling, fabricate, harshly, eavesdrop. Buddhists, corny, cobblestone, denomination, hawthorn, pry, backfire, wand, batten, militarize. Heinous, backpage, parallelism, militarization, radius, biogas, astrophysical, booking, graphite, applicable. Turbulence, propellant, degradation, unpredictability, glassy, computational, blasticist, hypothetical, reflex, chloride. Postdoctoral, exhilarate, eject, authoritative, gatekeeper, sugarcane, undertaking, genomics, bodied, auditor. Eucalyptus, residue, distrustful, Scott, chloroquine, supernovous, validate, iodide, changeable, remarkably. Underpin, incompatible, oncoming, mailbox, socialization, nanotube, ubiquitous, attainment, bioethicist, sarcasm. Lineup, blob, fixture, commonplace, nautical, aura, neurodegenerative, neurobiology, destitute, chalkboard. Optimize, dysfunction, cashier, collectible, ambient, stationary, attacks, advent, farther, tuba. Relaxing, panorama, perk, scold, elf, coolest, honeymoon, anesthetic, cardipod, agility. Illuminate, compress, confederations, tragically, unaware, humiliating, coke, fistula, drinkable, retell. Cripple, leaflet, marketable, windmill, impurity, ministers, architects, licensed, taxicab, janitor. Botany, toe, shortfall, compass, successive, associations, discontent, biochemical, precautionary, fiancé. Fascinate, vile, roller coaster, sane, avoidable, glimmer, toenail, bronchitis, gynecologist, jogging. Geriatric, flicker, concerted, spank, mediate, potluck, agents, effigy, afflict. Unwind, casually, contradictory, deterioration, fortify, shawl, esophagus, insufficient, deficient, boating. Emigrate, worldly, bathhouse, fidget, fig, shyness, mania, Richmond, disgraceful, deduction. Anterior, biopsy, tremor, bureaucratic, whereby, fathom, decisively, indiscriminate, wheeze, seagull. Bovine, entangle, dory, rigor, inconvenient, ensemble, frantic, custodian, craftsman, animosity. Bahama, mastery, discouraged, sociological, adequately, culture, twitch, equalizer, surname, undeniable. Colonizer, refutation, locality, allocation, subsidiary, politburo, storybook, fundamentalist, invaluable, curt. Horsepower, dysgraphia, multilateral, isolationist, hyperinflation, filthy, brainchild, disloyal, liberalization, crucify. Potash, stricken, bulbs, pastoral, wan, fatherly, tramp, leatherman, exodus, informant. Choreographer, admirer, ballerina, sly, enigma, chihuahua, ugliness, minstrel, flick, grandeur. Roadkill, Bulgarian, pivotal, jingle, housetop, wren, engraving, rocking, bikini, stepmother. Irony, tamper, consular, likable, shaft, spinner, baptize, haggard, earthly, unsinkable. Mystique, inventors, pristine, rehabilitate, homeopathic, aerobatic, embroidery, glassmaker, crossfield, blackness. Airman, folded, podium, deterrence, archduke, alliances, parcel, inconvenience, exonerate, narcissist. Enlightenment, stiffen, unsuspecting, inquire, saleswoman, billiard, félicité, xenophobia, blabber, telegraphy. Workmanship, subversion, defection, ditto, freighter, extrajudicial, unqualified, overstay, capsize, distilling. Redundancy, thigh, underside, mythical, cyanobacteria, untested, deforest, interagency, astrophysic, Cyprus. Ultrasonic, clearview, objectionable, eyeball, heightened, foundational, rotor, infer, replenish, revolve. Billionth, therapeutics, Hayabusa, stamina, pheromone, accelerometer, zip, unreliable, variability, improbable. Encircle, pleasurable, selfless, raspberry, exploratory, audiobook, impaired, pointless, amaze, simulated. Atrial, fibrillation, sided, augmented, freshness, infiltrate, vague, overestimate, measures, dosage. Bumble, tram, dashboard, briefcase, enactment, misusing, salesperson, causal, wavy, retinal. Clog, obstetric, cleverness, nostalgic, relive, standstill, expand, plumbing, thermostat, nominal. Nanowire, onwards, sweetie, omission, reload, antisocial, outdate, duct, dependability, radiator. Waking, rupture, artists, knuckle, momentous, shortcoming, taunt, methodical, shipbuilder, honeycomb. Impoverished, vagina, portfolio, breadth, lad, speeding, outing, global jiving, emerging, cervix. Comforting, stated, periodical, retention, bishops, quotient, criminally, axon, insomnia, quickness. Smokeless, guidelines, cue, lust, menopause, simultaneous, dreaming, paranoia, earplug, existent. Borderline, misguided, irritable, deformity, strenuous, frailty, energized, drawback, atherosclerosis, hardening. Specialization, congenital, heartache, omit, anaphylaxis, correlation, twisting, fishy, savory, shuffle. Candid, reside, lying, countrywide, depressive, bookshelf, groove, incubation, diarrheal, palsy. Ravage, amputate, lobe, husk, misguide, snatch, homeschool, educators, dent, signify. Gloomy, witty, articulate, appointee, Bloomington, coroner, coerce, prudent, fugitive, disenfranchise. Par, integral, barricade, inflated, dividing, postsecondary, plumber, undercut, packer, unworthy. Claimant, asexual, bra, tycoon, handball, din, dishearten, assertion, wrongful, shortcut. Occupied, irritated, emigration, brainwashing, savings, merge, plausible, astonish, jets, continuing. Fatten, situate, swiftly, superiority, contingency, composite, attic, disorderly, slither, utterly. Houseplant, hypoxia, moreover, Amazonian, pecan, escapee, ordinance, conservatorship, dreamgirls. Underwood, flooring, unfaithful, munch, backstage, rejoice, riverboat, joyous, Catholicism, fleck. Guardians, heroism, headwear, biracial, venison, unisex, acrobatic, funnyman, precarious, dab. Rivet, homage, trample, outraged, depiction, deepening, blouse, firebomb, woodcut, windfall. Almighty, submerge, broke, respectable, leatherneck, daguerreotype, tarnish, embroider, devise, minion. Perspire, bulge, humility, fable, tub, arabesque, acropolis, consecrate, Etchson, strife. Aggressor, confiscate, condominium, stunned, havoc, inheritance, derogatory, foreclose, turf, intrusion. Branding, fundamentalism, picket, tiptoe, growl, tablecloth, serene, entice, outshine, fond. Panacea, utmost, populism, signatory, vestiger, vengeance, blimp, viper, glaze, agribusiness. Deflect, changing, halo, microfactory, extinguish, observable, oceanographic, lineage, dryer, divers. Refurbish, cathode, manganese, astrobiologist, autograph, unlivable, mavis, removable, slant, nocturnal. Microprocessor, enforceable, synchronize, subtropical, concise, reforestation, traveling, hurdle, groundwork, spherical. Causing, leakage, crustacean, exclusively, stealth, climatologist, outgrow, flawless, swirl, collider. Positron, breathtaking, customary, twig, sunspot, brownish, pressing, unconnected, commercialize, limiting. Covert, cameras, burnout, ghostly, improperly, bicyclist, selfishly, shipper, theoretically, unpopulated. Combinator, locked, bog, cataract, fibrosis, viability, bioengineer, electrified, measuring, inherent. Beep, coder, breakout, topsoil, earbud, basics, watermark, slideshow, fluctuate, blocks. Anxiously, peak, unravel, repellent, splint, firewall, payoff, ambush, fiddler, paradox. Daunt, ordnance, repel, induction, flowering, microvascular, varnish, mechanically, portal, neatly. Jeopardize, estrella, braingut, debatable, criminality, inference, ophthalmologist, enterprise, analytic, certified. Whistling, outcomes, pretense, playhouse, compulsory, fabrication, artesunate, indebted, tart, hypocritical. Succulent, Fahrenheit, integrative, diocese, conspicuous, abort, deaconess, injectable, refocus, deafness. But, observant, nebulizer, irritant, procurement, distressed, depressing, culprit, conclusive, importation. Pictorial, hearty, yummy, nodule, endocrinology, crippled, chronically, fledgling, bonfire, humanly. Chit-chat, habits, thoughtfully, suffocate, babble, goof, Leah, concentrated, coward, pelvis. Micronutrient, crippling, drivers, evasive, manic, vaginal, radically, repercussion, copycat, imitation. Infuse, muck, frontal, childless, slime, enshrine, comprehend, hoarseness, ischemic, urinate. Oriental, vandalism, reverence, balancing, schoolmate, gist, harmonious, semantic, freeing, intellect. Ethel, prose, prescriptive, rapids, expertly, Bahamian, ascend, corporal, conform, dishonestly. Numeral, crops, toothpick, sounding, outwit, sportsman, stink, demonize, fodder, darn. Placlivismeter, confessions, religiously, aesthetic, dysfunctional, depletion, adultery, downfall, apprehension, extinguisher. Exploratorium, purchaser, dissuade, hardliner, massively, entitlement, expatriate, investments, companies, cliché. Turquoise, subside, visceral, unsettled, riverbank, overhaul, rosy, boutique, ignite, slender. Desertification, infest, patty, mutton, floral, mildew, apricot, wiggle, dried, cottonwood. Stallion, congratulatory, reprint, stingy, coronation, equinox, hawker, symbolism, hasty, cameraman. Vodka, aviator, contrarious, accomplished, bones, faded, inquirer, scamp, dishonorable, catching. Guidebook, goalkeeper, parody, birdman, confrontational, screenwriter, sightseeing, percussion, bidding, felt. Auctions, twine, boldly, duff, fondly, Blackfeet, gracious, jeans, 80th, solicitor. Nutshell, gull, milkshake, chips, predicament, migrating, hypothesize, capsaicin, berry, vitamin. Baldness, lucid, sunken, seatbelt, creationism, chisel, repose, meteoroid, artistically, truss. Sling, earthwatch, shipbuilding, procession, cosmetics, Air Force, mischievous, handkerchief, dispatcher, Albanians. Bastion, federalism, condone, conscientious, preposterous, amuse, lousy, thug, resentment, miscalculation. Meatpacking, savagely, segregated, renounce, frontrunner, stoop, mouthful, parody, interurban, frightful. Busily, sinful, cursed, unsuspected, permissible, milkmaid, fester, clairvoyant, clairvoyance, snitch. Humbug, demography, cordial, char, merciless, floodplain, extermination, policewoman, megabit, occidental. Quicken, ascertain, democratize, recede, unreadable, whittle, valuation, ventricle, regent, chameleon. Arable, scallop, swordfish, amplification, calmness, derrick, fleeting, undercover, stint, commanding. Supersonic, overdone, compressed, gauge, superhighway, unequivocal, glorify, sulfur, obscenity, plummet. Phosphate, recur, slack, persevere, revelation, alloy, transplantation, workload, counteract, collaborator. Snapshot, dangle, familiarity, burglary, MasterCard, eagerness, scarce, synthesize, pun, moat. Exaggeration, ethically, terminology, unintentionally, razor, scoop, disseminate, purified, concierge, thickly. Gynecology, personalize, matching, hinge, differential, minibus, overview, directory, fender, pairing. Confidently, inorganic, ventilate, cheaply, expectant, consumers, auditory, underline, cumbersome, meter. Diffuse, penetration, convertible, ingrained, handicap, onward, psychosocial, smoked, mechanics, poise. Fidelity, deplore, sawmill, distill, deserted, instill, enthusiast, ebony, clump, hangover. Roulette, approved, detition, affectionate, hind, blackbird, bandwagon, stool, refrigerate, grandparents. Inhalation, friendliness, resurgence, pertussis, thunderstorm, centigrade, dermatologist, banish, definitive, unproductive. Inertia, misinterpret, pragmatic, oftentimes, blessed, cardiologist, brunch, rinse, anchovy, hydrocarbon. Procedural, abruptly, derivative, childlike, cirrhosis, timbre, silky, antidote, impractical, neurotransmitter. Arouse, ecstasy, interval, embalm, eyelid, sentimental, impersonal, pistachio, foothold, categorize. Preferential, undeserved, habitual, unconsciousness, radiology, enlighten, municipality, lax, malfunction, rheumatism. Modem, awfully, memorialize, shady, turnover, grandkid, wakeful, subtract, rework, headmaster. Rower, gerrymander, debtor, designing, competence, discretion, objectively, compliant, uniqueness, converse. Abrupt, hone, civility, upheaval, annuity, semicolon, financier, ample, initiation, practice. Baroque, jargon, mileage, affinity, flagrant, Christmas time, guarantee, seeds, mare, agronomy. Castor, soya, fixing, fur, decimate, silkworm, thinly, alga, gala, wicked. Fresco, gibbon, denominator, racetrack, wick, sacrament, heroine, thrift, dramatize, embark. Noted, behold, rink, apothecary, helping, impossibly, hazel, negativity, abstain, repugnant. Ostrich, stubborn, detract, candlelight, rocker, sip, deserving, eccentric, revere, daring. Goes, crossroads, edgy, lathe, disloyalty, tempest, buggy, expressway, promptly, gemstone. Undisturbed, exceedingly, magnetosphere, clarion, mortuary, ornithology, sameness, dynamo, solvent, prism. Forgetful, sundial, thrombosis, earthen, dystrophy, jagged, trolley, whiteness, headlamp, scourge. Adversity, ghastly, sonic, proportional, wooded, microfilm, stockholder, cowardice, carillon, cavalry. Reiterate, entirety, byway, warlike, autocratic, disposition, cruiser, paradigm, Alice, spoonful. Hairspray, telecommuter, mystic, graciously, resurrection, firecracker, unspeakable, coolness, patiently, treacherous. Whale, countable, hyphenate, ruffle, delicacy, duckling, crematorium, dictatorial, mischief, snooker. Inexcusable, quasi, retrial, firepower, inanimate, diminutive, lifeblood, evoke, recollection, irreparable. Reassemble, undisputed, pioneering, wobble, nearness, outlast, harmonic, spatial, astounding, conjugate. Spontaneously, disproportionately, overreach, panoramic, inefficiency, deceptive, quail, toad, hardness, rumble. Nexus, celestial, phosphorus, constrain, melanin, bite, tuber, archer, anecdotal, disperse. Parameter, definitively, juggle, voltage, nebula, uproot, deflate, barren, unending, boggle. Gruesome, unwarranted, ledger, fungi, changed, endeavor, thatch, fell, connective, ladybug. Intoxicate, novelty, makeover, centrifugal, spindle, mythological, shoal, equate, masquerade, teaspoon. Unconsciously, layout, invert, folder, inclination, lunchtime, feet, jolly, glare, citation. Loved, interchange, aggravate, fragrance, decentralize, airstrip, upscale, hamper, reimburse, clutch. Foolproof, daunting, advancing, liable, ironically, lymphocyte, indenture, lapse, bottleneck, irrelevant. Beneficiary, foil, comprise, inactivate, substandard, munition, overcoat, ale, diode, wither. Hyperbole, acumen, horse, readable, hemoglobin, natal, have, respiration, bookshop, protagonist. Apron, sill, functioning, fluffy, cautiously, timetable, scrutinize, pancreas, distinctive, horrified. Lounge, uninterested, empirical, memento, renowned, infinitely, erect, hesitation, raisin, beautify. Conception, purge, latent, porridge, facet, pathology, superhuman, biscuit, obedient, avert. Acquaintance, erotic, captivate, pessimist, pessimism, bode, mutant, depressant, medley, hereditary. Padding, shackle, preservative, foreskin, sanitary, erratic, prominence, vested, catchy, manifest. Odorless, lark, empathetic, goose-house, drizzle, conceptual, hydroxide, behavior, momentarily, consolidation. Syringe, jaundice, curative, aggressiveness, manifestation, speculative, dowdy, molar, impending, temporal. Registrar, foresee, foe, epitome, discrepancy, retrospect, journalistic, distinctly, globalize, servitude. Implicit, dungeon, immensely, border, flex, solicit, scheme, catalog, vandal, notch. Pocketbook, undervalue, anchorman, bayonet, noose, hammock, exploitative, berserk, sick, speculator. Monologue, aborigine, fractured, restitution, vandalize, scripture, fragility, clange, thereof, purchasing. Converge, depositor, contend, solace, understate, impasse, merciful, brow, liquidity, boon. Writ, handicapped, dissenter, startled, iced, payout, conventionally, ailment, scented, populous. Liner, siphon, carelessness, vegetative, imprecise, cornfield, solidify, qualifier, starry, snuggle. Solidly, brilliance, amphitheater, acquittal, cynicism, lexicographer, manger, sleepless, pheasant, superb. Clatter, commemorate, wield, quintessential, inappropriately, deli, overblown, lifeguard, ghetto, strut. Righteous, gramophone, tenor, armchair, perky, representational, backstroke, trembling, sloppy, hibernate. Drastically, dryness, peripheral, demise, disciple, ejection, heredity, sleet, blip, entrant. Hypnosis, amazingly, monocyte, sash, solidity, baptism, stagnant, shampoo, prologue, sincerity. Seasick, wharf, escaped, racket, figurehead, rudder, adoptive, fruitful, sanity, deceit. Disgusted, moan, booming, coolie, reinstate, lectern, draconian, multitude, commemoration, ruthless. Crocs, exquisite, incompetent, dismay, baritone, custard, avenge, sweatshop, perverse, lovesick. Clueless, pale, skid, yurt, touchy, slay, hindsight, hothead, monolith, illegitimate. Akin, abed, extravagant, molest, disembark, aegis, steadfast, azure, amphibious, polyester. Vastly, peri, polarize, barometer, progressively, eerie, caution, utilization, joystick, instinctive. Underlying, hedgehog, fearsome, sedimentary, demo, pitiful, stow, redevelopment, cobra, oatmeal. questions, sampling, blanch, sunbathe, magnification, devoid, icebreaker, affirmation, trough, abacus, aloof, motorist, dilute, linkage, gigabyte, backdrop, precedence, hyperactive, noteworthy, monstrous, buoy, rationale, swoop, retraining, pinnacle, aerodynamic, paying, thermonuclear, shun, tavern, inaccessible, chirp, disputed, fray, assigned, ambiguous, inevitably, adapter, authenticate, leak, unveil, skeptic, hypodermic, course, dispenser, recognize, hump, catwalk, interrogate, prepaid, topography, dearth, adept, diaphragm, stiffness, ambiguity, crank, protract, gastrointestinal, deleterious, dysentery, tentative, individualism, garnish, zoologist, wane, lush, bridle, acclimate, rugged, sheltered, anew, stale, workable, workaholic, dumpling, appropriation, dermatology, Sabine, cutback, overeat, crossword, retract, antihistamine, attractiveness, selenium, agitated, vascular, pituitary, spanking, standardization, generalization, cleanse, adherence, chunk, reinforcement, tasteless, crystalline, solder, gallbladder, startle, pind, hunch, hinder, deprivation, explicitly, shrivel, delinquency, smite, gastric, alteration, torso, mucus, leprosy, rightfully, aqueduct, scum, slimy, minimally, picking, psychotic, wrapper, attentive, attache, surgically, modulation, delusion, curtail, waxy, gangrene, untapped, coexist, salient, gauze, gong, penalize, wristwatch, grading, disciplinary, monotonous, worldview, uneasiness, jerk, centralize, wherein, respective, stipend, laziness, relational, centrally, regroup, erroneous, submissive, skunk, inquisitive, psyche, abridge, gall, caveat, privatize, hardworking, dub, demean, luncheon, censure, stringent, spew, abyss, infestation, sob. Furthermore, individuality, idealize, euphemistic, vernacular, coherent, desegregation, spoke, leaving, preseason, deflation, apparel, dissatisfy, choppy, amicable, seep, optimization, rebate, bestseller, disparate, pretext, overgrown, ungourded, quill, clamp, sapling, pea, horribly, avail, thunderous, buckwheat, coda, traveler, wretched, mirth, chick, coffeehouse, nobility, relaunch, undefeated, inscribe, amenity, congratulations, unrecognizable, floodgate, sensibility, unquestionably, quay, hostile, obituary, seasoned, speedway, stroll, cock, lyrical, cracker, meek, melody, oddity, silhouette, elegance, trapeze, antic, permanence, jab, gravestone, brawl, resounding, opus, giveaway, newsreel, feat, indifference, sculptural, lament, brownstone, flagpole, bookcase, mustache, diverge, consolidated, tug, quilter, heretic, verdant, mournful, folly, drape, booklet, spiced, electrostatic, hibernation, tarmac, minivan, intuition, null, blush, cling, sandal, bask. Headman, more, unoccupied, homeopathy, finishing, imprint, bugle, reaper, earthenware, washroom. Reheat, kin, colossus, failed, bookkeeper, solemnly, platoon, vaguely, furnish, gentleness. Anarchist, unquestioned, torpedo, viciously, dated, malice, abolition, suffragist, abet, disband. Wishful, scraping, bash, moron, reek, fairway, locomotive, incendiary, mystical, incest. Thrush, uproar, skinny, pedigree, carnage, hulk, totem, vilify, ravine, troop. Curiously, frosty, heiress, heaviness, bizarre, subversive, close, strangle, unselfish, mockery. Smack, handicraft, appease, unrequited, negation, peeve, tertiary, speechwriter, termination, huff. Enchantment, urbanism, warlord, recklessly, congested, justified, orchestrate, slander, intertwine, revoke. Intolerant, barbarity, disaffect, reputable, putter, stanza, lighted, antecedent, forearm, unreasonably. Hash, friction, anode, axiom, indecent, studied, ether, soluble, exemplify, wager. Recombination, breakage, fossilize, atrophy, millipede, spurt, cull, dissimilar, sickle, statistically. Carnivore, ascent, newness, shrew, tuft, predictive, perimeter, verified, glowing, dipper. Obscure, prodigy, foresight, unabated, greenbelt, sonata, forthcoming, wag, rubbish, determinant. Javelin, habitation, encode, mallet, scaled, oscillation, desolate, festivity, defensible, justifiable. Acceleration, shifting, elliptical, stopover, rebuttal, covered, masonry, engulf, palette, ignition. Vertically, coy, adopted, clerical, calibrate, Yelp, megapixel, paid, bookmark, incapable. Rewind, tutorial, downtime, paralytic, modified, circumvent, talon, cloak, sack, parse. Transact, competency, sleek, arduous, thymus, anyplace, elation, perishable, inadvertently, situational. Developing, velocity, reassurance, vigor, gallop, giggle, permeable, nag, bellows, filament. Quinine, supplemental, prenatal, carton, fluorescent, nimble, virtuous, hilt, plethora, spiky. Excrete, pharmacology, indecision, transverse, exhalation, grocer, paramedic, untidy, hoe, uniformly. Approvingly, spraying, triglyceride, micrometer, gourmet, negotiable, tablespoon, harmonize, halcyon, escalator. Glycogen, tingle, takeaway, euphoria, detectable, epidemiological, markedly, flammable, heed, askew. Episodic, regimen, stubble, bookish, reserved, incapacitate, symposium, checkup, assertiveness, weariness. Slouch, whack, bout, monolingual, ploy, slur, saucer, unrecognized, phobia, immature. Gloat, unjustly, totalitarian, petrol, bran, abdomen, plow, indefensible, hobble, flimsy. Attire, welding, coven, understatement, thwart, receptive, paraphrase, chilly, intergenerational, callous. Multiplication, unparalleled, blackboard, repository, spotted, receptionist, piecemeal, accredited, luminous, petitioner. Untrustworthy, espouse, barred, regrettably, amass, likewise, backside, concordance, earmark, redouble. Eulogy, curate, experiential, dwindle, gravitate, mismatch, thesaurus, zeal, engaging, crossfire. Subcontractor, manly, insulate, diversion, fortitude, assistantship, subdivision, toil, cornstarch, furnishing. Normalization, devaluation, assortment, equilibrium, calculated, macroeconomic, unmoved, sufficiency, falter, airtight. Sear, contingent, flavorful, steward, dubious, fungicide, headway, necrosis, biennial, reinvigorate. Regionally, invigorate, wean, footpath, gabby, unprofessional, hillbilly, biographer, ephemeral, sag. Regal, flashback, parable, exculpate, grapple, charisma, enduring, drab, lore, unspoken. Fairground, gimmick, pathological, outpost, stardom, persistence, appreciative, dazzle, headdress, misstep. Beholden, roster, classically, secretariat, alchemy, scorn, seeking, misdeed, ornate, redemption. Embolden, counterculture, affront, pronouncement, acknowledgement, elated, peculiar, disconcert, opener, impervious. Foliage, showy, superficial, psychotherapist, placid, hymn, relish, brooch, presumption, nonviolence. Helplessness, glisten, outdo, unearthly, ferryboat, squirt, cupboard, ultimatum, team, vocation. Menace, maroon, seismology, entanglement, cannibalism, presume, wine, elongate, platelet, druggist. Loo, squeak, writhe, sorcerer, plate-like, blunder, disenchantment, embody, ascending, lightness. Raincoat, unmarked, elm, frigate, requiem, trickery, aground, wacky, aristocrat, outset. Naive, mutiny, intolerable, terrified, rendezvous, devastated, idealism, tweed, gag, palpable. Grossly, reactionary, theatric, impulsive, goldsmith, disarray, underclass, overt, hallmark, sandbag. Outlandish, bluster, manhood, falsehood, feud, enlistment, euthanasia, deathly, angelic, lug. Confidentiality, pennant, aimlessly, musket, aria, eugenic, disrespectfully, nevermore, boxcar, bearable. Mixer, canned, imp, innkeeper, paleness, itemize, gangway, greedy, slew, caper. Flog, apt, simile, diligently, ouch, ungrateful, frugal, puddle, sackcloth, insincere. Fickle, grumpy, feign, gullible, astrology, grudge, nemesis, mortify, load, sidetrack. Shriek, sweetly, defame, inconceivable, whereabouts, entail, pagan, shanty, short-sighted, relentlessly. Counterattack, displease, exemplary, premeditate, patronage, mishandle, permissive, handout, brood, reprehensible. Recalcitrant, repatriate, purport, albino, ferocious, convene, leisurely, forlorn, commandant, waiver. seaboard, modesty, duly, assailant, ensue, incremental, epithet, uncanny, dissipate, spat. Larynx, pronounced, decentralized, ridiculously, cultured, petrify, lighter, suture, sunlit, equine. Injunction, meticulous, indistinguishable, outermost, acorn, befall, intersect, outbid, debunk, throb. Starfish, quadruple, lobe, fascination, intimidating, preoccupy, unnerve, uncooperative, discus, eastward. Intrusive, motility, magnetize, absorption, alleviation, extrapolate, clipper, crystallize, grim, annihilate. Pulley, inflame, gerontology, fridge, bigot, porpoise, entrap, framing, itinerary, spammer. Superimpose, allotment, dweller, jolt, others, mogul, postmark, manicure, plumb, disengage. Fictitious, stimulating, houseboat, sandpaper, lubricate, carrot, socket, storeroom, practicality, sustenance. Permeate, churn, complementary, traverse, deliberation, indulgence, illumination, instantaneous, apolitical, aback. Sunder, detonation, trespass, sprain, unfulfilled, cheekbone, foursquare, trimester, dissemination, homogeneous. Piston, ringtone, packet, demoralize, woodcock, rapport, overconfident, hearten, delayed, replication. Subgroup, wedge, assets, squarely, expanded, upstate, plumb, exertion, emergent, characterization. Humanist, stagger, uniformed, lunge, lowering, amnesia, upsurge, minefield, advisable, saturated. Inconsistency, incision, contentment, bomb, milkman, deodorant, endocrine, forager, corporeal, deformed. Pox, heading, numbness, glamorize, deactivate, unqueed, deprived, attainable, modestly, crunchy. Translucent, folio, intriguing, prognosis, relieved, crackle, defecate, excessively, alignment, thrilled. Remit, malignant, erection, prematurely, cultures, yap, rarity, mindless, thereafter, decadent. Connoisseur, cynical, colitis, laceration, indulge, baffle, radium, passively, formulation, armament. Decidedly, retardation, catalyze, spasm, dialysis, tinker, revamp, disavow, visibly, narration. Ameliorate, apathy, atrocious, workbook, hobbyist, choral, bombard, artfully, competitively, citywide. Detriment, attest, disservice, principled, pseudo, kowtow, honk, proponent, incoherent, subtraction. Impersonate, subconscious, beaker, rationalize, staunch, reschedule, idealistic, gratification, anticipation, booty. Hurriedly, exhibitor, photocopier, unmatched, canon, climax, conversant, variance, gainful, discriminating. Dissertation, preferable, carpentry, legislate, concur, posterity, guise, ledge, conducive, marital. Organization, fixed, energetically, unbeatable, wholesaler, fateful, supplementary, dynamism, post-war, deviate. Sprawl, trifle, cassette, guru, Xerox, devour, adjacent, furrow, filly, colt. storehouse, wintertime, foothill, climatic, gasification, navel, nourishment, sucker, freshen, pasteurize. Resin, unwavering, pinpoint, oboe, divinity, hairpiece, platitude, narcissus, scandalous, immortality. Sloop, veal, periphery, devious, scoreboard, cares, pagoda, personify, transcontinental, inalienable. Disuse, socks, nudity, lumen, skew, glamour, alchemist, commune, perplex, sportsmanship. Bridesmaid, prolific, montage, uptown, snub, gust, cunning, duet, correspondence, marquee. Headliner, chaplain, pastel, spout, immeasurable, cannibal, pains, named, bellow, resplendent. Oscillate, notation, intrinsically, statistician, skylight, abrasive, prudence, teeth, bouquet, faithless. Strings, weighty, impatience, topple, irrevocable, limber, anesthetize, immobile, antibiotics, radial. Geomagnetic, disintegration, heatstroke, aberration, eyelash, indicative, scaffolding, pimple, flax, epoch. Islet, stately, uninhabited, inescapable, cubism, linen, buoyancy, darkroom, mutter, modernity. Hastily, lacquer, judicious, days, consultative, teak, misplace, incubate, typhus, sunfish. Encampment, wanton, hallow, insistent, excellency, denture, evocative, fireside, turbulent, retort. Nullify, vile, gladden, abject, internationalist, lurch, uplift, easygoing, profane, intractable. Clasp, leasing, leeway, resentful, corrosive, outskirt, indivisible, miser, pawnshop, sneer. Prejudiced, appraisal, transmigration, symphonic, curbside, mishap, christen, condor, firelight, disciplined. Regretfully, savagery, amir, tenderly, healthily, hideous, rowboat, cheery, womanly, unwrap. Muffler, alienated, gravely, morbidity, smug, envious, bloodthirsty, malevolent, hunker, gush. Devout, shudder, exterior, grindstone, rising, bombardment, tranquilizer, incriminate, facade, incomprehensible. Smelt, talisman, opaque, counselor, gout, apostate, distorted, figurine, conscript, flyover. Executioner, ecumenical, maudlin, devolve, combative, ensign, lavish, magistrate, statutory, caviar. Ostracize, nationalistic, misconstrue, entrench, counterbalance, grin, scapegoat, footbridge, demented, quagmire. Antiquated, outfield, liberalize, confidant, redistribute, counselor, bellicose, spec, oligarch, deregulate. Extort, realign, cessation, encroach, caliber, patronize, antithesis, chastise, condensation, hothouse. Weathering, unforeseen, perturb, finite, airship, loiter, identifier, decaying, hairless, forester. Quasar, gelatin, cryogenic, smoothness, selectively, democratization, proprietary, foreground, interconnected, homebound. Ecliptic, anecdote, diffuse, pre-exist, upriver, typist, interdisciplinary, research, arousal, shrinking. Helm, tablet up, southward, bluebird, spiritually, unaided, formidable, misshapen, bog, sectional, cryptic, knitwear, roundabout, reconstructive, embankment, keynote, ruminate, bricklayer, adaptability, oxidize, caress, adaptable, electromagnet, forgiving, overexposure, inviting, horizontally, rant, fond, relinquish, scribble, mundane, bibliography, bristle, lazily, screwdriver, decryption, spreadsheet, catapult, whirl, deconstruct, sturdy, swiftness, insomniac, wince, antivirus, barbarism, thrower, entree, colossal, indiscriminately, optometrist, corrugated, pus, landlocked, twofold, venomous, partake, deductible, thirdly, unforgiving, backtrack, abbreviate, anorexia, inexperience, trot, brandy, saltiness, exponential, shingle, scheduled, medial, formative, negligent, utensil, decomposition, unchecked, breathless, restrained, need, congregate, substitution, lifesaver, renal, sniffle, lethargic, rot, eclectic, etching, aerobics, tiresome, accumulation, hydrate, premarital, squirm, aggregate, prickle, blazing, internalize, smokestack, exponentially, wholesome, inflexible, innocuous, fragrant, unquote, aroma, improvised, digestible, timid, stowaway, exhausting, predictability, desiccate, hardcore, tummy, tamp, tearful, moonlighting, languish, predispose, dilution, o'clock, inattention, foretell, admonish, detach, unconcerned, tire, sledding, dorsal, leaky, dietetic, collected, appendix, familial, cosmopolitan, misrepresentation, worksheet, microcosm, made, accelerated, marginalization, objectivity, equivalence, forgery, impartiality, valiant, twirl, interviewee, brandish, cringe, brazen, potable, scat, betterment, transcendental, universality, formality, gastronomy, accrue, refute, stopwatch, denigrate, exalt, adversarial, insufficiency, thrilling, goody, haphazard, hospitable, internationalize, prohibitive, insuffer, apprehensive, satanic, locus, syntax, interventionist, proselytize, stirring, pamper, cursive, instructive, libel, shipboard, pain, interdependent, gamut, thrifty, listens, chauffeur, paperback, sequester, diversified, mercantile, taxable, atypical, downsize, expediency, squeal, squire, forefather, artful, apiary, step, survivability, icebox, stud, amenable, pillage, bower, dredge, localize, milling, inverse, cyclical, inexact, consort, manhunt, chateau, impromptu, juggernaut, motivational, privy, remorse, austere, egalitarian, medic, enquiry, separator, anthology, cellist, kinetics, abominable, crouch, trying, positivity, carved, tambourine, trilogy, imperialism, shortlist, besiege, falconer, hermitage, maxim, dimple, opulent, egoist, auctioneer, playmate, sporty, versatility, romanticize, reassess, impart, undivided, penance, mumble. Shoes, gad, errant, generously, gregarious, triumphant, hodgepodge, decorum, melodic, mop. Admirable, intricate, strikingly, beholder, enthusiastically, radiant, tedious, deface, embodiment, sportswriter. Righteousness, insidious, contraband, revolving, denunciation, members, welder, delinquent, maiden, cornet. Shimmer, nadir, spotless, weeping, Sabbath, funky, insular, maypole, sledge, wizardry. Oratorio, alkali, spearhead, Paleolithic, fibrous, painstaking, ichthyosaur, logically, weatherman, vertigo. Anaerobic, nonlinear, capacitor, actuality, glutamate, chimera, mahogany, continuum, apex, dogfish. Obligatory, inoculation, equalize, dusky, cosmological, whisker, ode, virila, sympathetically, materialize. Impenetrable, repulsive, pantheon, freeze, statuary, kaleidoscope, keenly, monotony, royal, baroque. Adoration, harpoon, lioness, ionosphere, cosmos, camouflage, burglar, footnote, wrecked, enchanted. Ado, ethnology, mammals, untie, conspicuously, comrade, desecrate, domination, commotion, forthwith. Bloodbath, perilous, absolve, mirage, dooryard, desegregate, obliterate, pervert, declassify, layman. Pornographic, incompetence, barrage, celibate, tainted, brim, serenity, fuzz, idly, hysterical. Excerpt, inception, inquest, choreograph, subvert, undergrowth, astrodome, midtown, stickler, scamper. Bequest, diligently, fussy, effortlessly, molestation, bourgeois, dreary, ponder, scarcely, devotee. Reluctantly, falsetto, crafty, teacup, despise, modernism, shove, stockbroker, merman, intermission. Hermit, mistress, ruffin, dutifully, stiffly, threateningly, pounding, moisten, chime, whimper. Aghast, wanderlust, forsake, unaccountable, zipper, silverware, bossy, zenith, fawn, disreputable. Quibble, dampen, townhouse, consolation, innate, unfeeling, personification, simmer, curmudgeon, indefatigable. Unconventional, fortuitous, heartstring, acquaint, bulky, disdain, claustrophobia, hooray, intrude, ring. Verbatim, splurge, monograph, overrun, connotation, ablaze, repudiate, pyre, tacit, torment. Outflow, motorboat, flank, canteen, invalid, crib, hairdresser, vitality, deputize, arbiter. Lingerie, satyr, incursion, heretical, sketchy, rosewood, imbecile, halting, deranged, derange. Intrinsic, skullcap, tout, lorry, plunder, inbound, fantasize, totalitarianism, coherence, metal. Bombastic, castigate, radicalism, seductive, involuntarily, predominant, prerogative, lopsided, canvas, scourge. Exterminate, scour, senile, theologian, anguish, seduce, penal, jurisprudence, bolster, fanaticism. Sobriety, pathetic, hereafter, hierarchical, anathema, garb, deferential, ineligible, race, atheism. Infidelity, flatly, conjunctive, peak, birth, calamity, matador, causeway, wed, interrelated. Stealthy, osprey, inhabitable, reposition, moat, funereal, misjudge, recombine, fissure, dissect. Dustbin, aperture, disposed, photoelectric, centaur, circumstantial, fieldwork, latency, malformed, mastermind. Galley, arboreal, conifer, woven, prelude, gate, pulsate, grizzly, insulator, mammalian. Wicker, incense, moldy, slower, disturbed, stocky, retrograde, hydrothermal, haunting, uncomfortably. Inflamed, Spartan, warranty, minimalist, adherent, magenta, altimeter, instrumentation, fittingly, infuriate. Thunderbolt, unruly, collared, tranquil, stupefy, apologetic, misfit, crowdfund, kinetic, trachea. Frisk, feeble, awkwardly, noiseless, conductive, sledgehammer, irregularly, reprieve, motorway, vastness. Critices, kilometer, lute, mellow, legitimately, archaic, refrigerant, correlate, creditable, stretcher. Snob, eloquent, wear, sputum, lodging, alleyway, tome, anemic, lion, corrugate. Peppercorn, aerate, protrude, midsummer, nettle, escapist, inoperable, recurrence, napkin, gnome. Upkeep, trusting, cog, fastening, irreproachable, blemish, theorist, bottomless, softwood, untimely. Humus, dumbbell, obstetrics, unpack, verbally, recurrent, freckle, intoxication, bellwether, fluidity. Agitate, flounder, rockfish, toasted, cornmeal, hypocrite, secrete, longitudinal, maximal, malleable. Lipid, pernicious, resemblance, excruciating, reedy, mince, unsanitary, heartburn, grate, indigestion. Downpour, savor, burgeon, procrastinate, smartly, slumber, talkative, badminton, selected, ordinarily. Symbiotic, vividly, convulse, sedate, defense, obtainable, saber, edema, rigorously, fend. Interferon, salivary, sparing, venous, washcloth, extremity, diffusion, tactile, maturation, tumble. Signage, disclaim, bloat, mumps, superfluous, holistically, arachnid, erring, partition, supposed. Insensitivity, racketeer, ball, millstone, sloping, modular, estimation, mediocrity, piercing, muster. Agitation, considering, leaning, imposter, commence, stagnate, qualitative, remedial, invariably, orthodoxy. Disobedient, recitation, degenerate, unmask, professionalism, cohesive, strengthening, noxious, culmination, esteemed. Syllabus, considerate, fruitless, groundnut, heartily, absenteeism, prepay, potency, regression, shameless. Ravel, individualize, felon, integer, graduated, inexhaustible, apprehend, outsell, rascal, glycerol. Visiting, pang, inflow, manipulative, consultancy, despondent, tatter, bullion, cliche, adversely. Expedite, infancy, furiously, subdue, incidentally, hearsay, cannery, nationalize, backdut, disgorge. Euros, trawler, grinder, mainstay, compendium, sensibly, destitution, concurrent, mechanized, shredded, blowtorch, raised, deviation, spoilage, pout, stopper, muffin, undefined, vernal, elegy, civilize, benevolent, deaden, onstage, moose, pluck, firstborn, instrumentalist, crab, subterranean, accompaniment, gripping, rhoda, specificity, astonishment, resonant, inferno, unsound, uniformity, convincingly, shudder, telecast, showdown, perfectionist, twinkling, cheeky, thriving, enclave, juxtaposition, backhand, caught, rerun, residual, spoof, tipper, armor, encyclopedic, conceivably, optimum, pitchfork, skillet, smother, supermodel, wandering, harrow, sixpence, tenacity, lull, gouge, mime, sinner, knoll, folksy, revealing, jumpsuit, not a paper, inundate, puncture, snip, hitch, workhorse, aquamarine, asymmetric, undying, starling, barrister, 70th, slew, ethereal, distinguishable, symmetry, pumice, advantageous, snout, spiny, minuscule, winnow, crevice, downright, isthmus, analogous, teal, cutaneous, bestow, feral, fastener, reagent, scaffold, parting, horny, ripeness, dike, fraught, mainframe, aorta, cacti, trumpeter, rampart, autobiographical, stoneware, mesmerize, stench, deathless, spectral, gash, adrift, delirious, therein, portraiture, velvety, incarnation, nobleman, outwardly, nappy, fluster, hieroglyphic, complexion, nomenclature, beautician, slut, realist, diligent, paternal, them, cleanly, deceitful, frigid, agonize, cognizant, scurry, futile, possessed, artless, crate, insistence, resolutely, WC, stockyard, senatorial, heresy, spangle, aristocracy, exorbitant, infrequent, boldness, overzealous, sauna, expressly, semblance, unambiguous, answerable, beleaguer, smirk, flamboyant, vindicate, aggrieve, impressively, barbarian, circumspect, pundit, cower, flatter, confer, witless, buffoon, reluctance, bulldoze, brat, brash, click, masculinity, bunk, charlatan, forger, subjugate, delicatessen, sarcastically, opal, whore, foss, qualm, lyricist, infraction, scab, thumb, buckskin, squawk, flirt, abreast, gaggle, ordained, paranoid, splinter, spectre, fantasia, hallowed, interment, melancholy, melodious, birdie, maestro, tickle, multiplicity, vaulted, clout, bastard, contrive, barbarous, diagonal, beckon, hoot, benefactor, rebroadcast, perplexing, viciousness, bridle, upholster, unsteadily, shapeless, grumble, gulp, fulcrum, nigh, somber, indignation, groan, jeer, corroborate, thrash, logjam, drowsy, prophecy, vie, dally, thoughtless, gunnery, flattery, motley, abstraction, flurry, horse racing, vex, coax, snooze, pucker, redress, crumb, creak, diagonally, stubbornly, diabolical, assemblage, alliteration, utopian, tumultuous, ruse, subterfuge, retrospective, undetected, stash. Pelt, hitchhike, egocentric, inclement, brawling, starboard, ramification, recluse, tripper, patrimony. Dependably, institutionalized, hydrant, incur, quitter, negate, rebuke, regress, transitory, enraged. Enrage, cronyism, revitalization, authorized, resurgent, ensnare, headband, lampshade, promotional, unresponsive. Annul, inure, alienation, throttle, hernia, harbor, dissolution, frying, snag, idiotic. Stoical, exceed, vicar, armpit, schism, motif, repentance, informer, remaining, whim. Prowess, impoverish, discretionary, forcible, shamble, phase, cloakroom, autocracy, anomalous, common sense. Adjudicate, evangelist, assuage, adorn, undignified, indifferent, desist, abstention, overpass, depose. Hydroelectricity, redistribution, kinship, notwithstanding, coed, preponderance, loathsome, dotage, rectify, resent. Heartless, spoiled, accomplice, cusp, armada, belligerent, stipulate, hypermarket, scud, belch. Externally, laminate, aboveboard, enfranchise, devilish, disparage, discreet, sizzle, scruffy, taint. Abiding, dreadful, hearse, rend, mutilate, adamant, chastity, exhume, illicit, manifold. Command, alias, invisibility, agonizing, uncommitted, congest, feasibility, irradiate, boundless, hide away. Disengagement, exasperate, miniskirt, ablution, palatial, unspoiled, mayhem, banter, emphatic, refresher. Interrogative, fiend, revolver, appall, hoist, atrium, classy, unbecoming, eaglet, counterweight. Inadvertent, resumption, amorphous, cumulus, respire, mold, jetty, advert, enclosed, agile. Tantalize, mystify, gruel, foghorn, wrangler, underbrush, dissection, brackish, anthropological, scavenge. Reanimate, thud, extant, divergence, slayer, bewilderment, unwholesome, contracting, asterisk, kindred. Cloudless, distasteful, computation, ambivalent, repeating, mannerism, spook, cranium, postulate, sunbeam. Synoptic, artifacts, caustic, impregnate, momentary, intoxicating, workhouse, prerequisite, starlight, vocalization. Proclivity, toothed, speedometer, effluent, dupe, spectacles, inferential, supplant, decorating, saturation. Vehemently, hexagon, stoplight, query, terms, clipboard, dusk, sparse, passcode, audio tape. Incorruptible, cornucopia, unscrew, vacate, aggregation, discern, cinder, alternatively, stag, circumnavigate. Passerby, ream, vibrancy, linesman, retailing, jug, willfully, handiwork, fishbowl, cock. Modulate, lubrication, allot, globular, appreciable, unsavory, dexterity, indestructible, prosaic, holograph. Rectum, crimp, detachment, gutter, pair, upland, discordant, manufactured, decreased, impound. Citron, carefulness, underfoot, outpatient, temperance, catharsis, resurrect, doorknob, hassle, rubbery. Resuscitate, overburden, decompress, gonad, multipurpose, necessitate, miscellaneous, flaccid, hectic, syphilis. Flowing, sword, tubular, cookery, perpetual, receptacle, refreshment, mullet, halibut, regularity. Bending, ferocity, affective, hankering, faintly, rationally, conceivable, rotating, herbaceous, systole. Diastole, startling, stereotypical, admissible, lustful, detour, resultant, computerize, metastasis, scalding. Scald, uncharacteristic, greasy, abundantly, circumference, forming, cranial, histogram, sewerage, vanquish. Inconclusive, chronological, orally, overdue, reactivate, carcinogenesis, coffer, sweetability, hurl, elasticity. Paraffin, rabies, rabid, antagonist, steamer, accidentally, macroscopic, headgear, organize, photosensitive. Carries, discouragement, complacency, reliever, correlated, tonsil, flickering, suntan, latch, behoove. Collar, apprise, impertinent, disfigure, rickets, barbiturate, nil, earnestly, honor, brainless. Windpipe, sinus, macula, reassign, enunciate, muffle, flout, underfunded, outscore, antonym. Frenetic, demonstrable, pillowcase, recourse, inextricably, hearthstone, colloquial, overdraft, instantaneously, inordinate. Subjectively, somatic, metaphorical, struggling, expound, bewildered, logistics, flippant, godless, unbiased. Carport, divergent, applying, yank, fundamentals, originality, congruent, strident, stupendous, aversion. Sensitize, conciliation, pious, proofread, interpretive, hallow, dishonor, empirically, deity, conundrum. Dictation, lexicon, cognizance, dreamland, seed, insightful, fractional, alertness, dislocate, preclude. Landlady, cheek, dissension, spaceman, resound, deadweight, decreasing, outbound, depreciate, dismal. Scissors, streamline, after effect, conclusively, racecourse, depreciation, liquidate, taper, decease, spendthrift. Withdrawal, laborer, wastage, tonnage, insolvency, fruition, headhunter, beset, categorical, offense. Coincident, exuberance, penniless, litter, specialize, cantaloupe, pilfer, refinement, aeration, subsist. Consequently, strata, pestle, justly, seasonable, sabbatical, prominently, nightshade, homogenize, steeply. Girdle, lubricant, curdle, lactic, gambit, lychee, sepulture, numismatic, impeccable, derision. Repertory, shaggy, Macintosh, uncompromising, acclaim, allude, knitted, cordless, inquisition, soothing. Duchy, inhumanity, reprimand, versed, bisect, engrave, craftspeople, gentry, slobber, drool. Provenance, splendor, harmonium, stubbornness, inspired, snare, centenary, emulate, derelict, migosity. Eventful, mauve, serpentine, pander, confection, amour, annihilation, placate, teeter, cherubic. ensconce, footwork, porcupine, hallucinate, gander, emotive, packed, hanger, fearlessly, byline. Threadbare, outhouse, synthesis, booze, daft, thematic, skimpy, soulless, debacle, impend. Desertion, careen, flare, postseason, incandescence, scanty, percussionist, glade, elemental, redemptive. Pendant, jest, diplodocus, odds, destroyed, powerlessness, minaret, promenade, flowery, rendition. Briny, fastball, peg, oracular, sinister, icing, allay, ecstatic, treachery, irretrievable. Renegade, lyrics, commemorative, petite, hitting, phenomena, painters, shattered, farthest, archdiocese. Inseminate, gobble, feline, rekindle, tadpole, serrate, dexterous, submerged, ingest, tint. Progenitor, wafer, haystack, torrential, organelle, unfertilized, eyeless, deposition, bereaved, infantile. Forbear, lest, cheerless, embolism, swampy, unfailing, fatness, draft, dermatitis, clockwise. Infirmary, widower, surviving, carapace, gastritis, peptic, pathos, stammer, gravitation, veranda. Cougar, crystallized, overpowering, surmount, bewitch, acoustics, apotheosis, trident, sophomore, conductivity. Conjecture, silt, macho, surly, sextant, skillful, zigzag, hydrochloric, tangerine, opinionated. Steely, locale, dimly, marionette, tweezers, midget, shipload, videocassette, ellipse, holiness. Sapphire, cornerstone, invalidate, mightily, aristocratic, reminisce, antipathy, juncture, yuppie, transpire. Dislodge, consternation, eminence, evermore, grievous, forego, deafen, ventriloquist, nape, retroactive. Favorable, postman, doomed, exalt, gladness, clang, gratifying, trained, has, frolic. Cherished, fervent, dignify, inflection, demur, delusional, overtly, meet, unison, unconquerable. Marvelous, voracious, stagnation, fallow, heathenish, propriety, compromised, aggrieved, pending, fizz. Demagogue, baffling, inferiority, appalled, cabal, inaccuracy, convulsion, colonialist, abot, durability. Bloward, grounded, parlance, unsubstantiated, moribund, vicinity, asunder, redeem, encapsulate, sadistic. Sportscaster, metaphysical, idealist, redraw, subculture, doff, gleam, natty, contour, overjoyed. Codfish, vantage, elope, hairdo, unanticipated, watchtower, leer, spool, grueling, rudeness. Inadequacy, muffled, woe, beaded, tacky, comical, patter, epilogue, mangy, cornflower. Fax, amorous, glasshouse, fireman, mallard, downhearted, unabridged, everlasting, pejorative, glamour. Disassociate, preconception, maim, bombshell, functionary, beanstalk, lair, unawares, benighted, totter. Hem, savior, pendulum, quaint, outpour, flit, pallid, shipmate, figment, lurk. Ajar, popper, speckle, envelop, driftwood, horsewhip, verve, conveniently, astonished, stringy. Whiten, despairing, unmindful, uncertainly, sickening, loyally, untiring, cackle, alimony, chuckle. Fret, overmuch, prophetic, assail, thrice, unbelief, jumpy, woolen, rearrange, whence. Punctuate, symbiosis, simplification, taxonomy, denote, dawdle, insignia, misfire, rind, puzzling. Derivation, sorrowful, industrious, plate, emphatically, damper, dandy, toffee, serenely, encumber. Sneaking, bow, unpretentious, understudy, irk, irksome, deprecate, flighty, unsatisfactory, tattle. Blurt, thankless, prick, trivia, habitually, sordid, fanatic, zealot, votary, zealous. Esprit, subtly, hesitantly, prospector, facilitation, rot, pram, flattering, scrawny, touchstone. Miserly, grating, indignant, glimmering, irritating, saboteur, lint, customarily, astrological, chaff. Ass, irresistible, nightcap, paddler, grouse, disquiet, impossibility, rafter, disinter, epitomize. Inhibition, waterfowl, packaged, corkscrew, backslide, deliverer, refundable, insurmountable, Herculean, cubicle. Downcast, housebound, chieftain, footballer, nuzzle, vagabond, equidistant, sublime, pacify, reliably. Jailer, amble, incidental, candor, ruinous, antagonistic, untangle, easel, practicable, handbrake. Mope, blitz, uncultivated, coloration, squalor, dismissive, sentient, vitrify, presumptuous, immaculate. Misstate, slop, aggravation, sluggard, eventuality, contaminated, agnostic, bauxite, prized, synonymous. Floating, largesse, omnipresent, discernible, credence, immorality, onlooker, furnishings, enmity, dinghy. Coastguard, cartographer, succumb, trespasser, rescission, audacity, confluence, sweatshirt, seedy, dispar. Striped, awkwardness, sift, courteous, brochure, haulage, pronghorn, handyman, impugn, grandstand. Monopolize, technocrat, harshness, forwards, persistently, soundproof, levity, acutely, propagation, impetuous. Gutless, solvency, calumny, deflection, drunkenness, favored, renege, rowdy, multifaceted, defensively. Complicity, issuance, cesspool, usurp, ruckus, vagrant, entrenched, wanting, retraction, watchword. Stratagem, unwitting, corrosion, reprisal, distraught, contravene, subjectivity, miraculously, embezzlement, flack. Fluke, snipe, neglectful, coincidentally, tolerable, rescind, conciliatory, shelve, yourselves, chummy. Blot, purgatory, imperil, nebulous, plenary, irate, overgraze, alms, extramarital, torturous. Garret, crochet, constable, browbeat, categorically, unquestionable, percolate, flaxen, invoice, skipping. Pall, decry, belligerence, enlightened, cuckoo, disfavor, divest, virtuoso, ostentatious, ironclad. Facsimile, revel, revelry, naysayer, proximate, notoriety, enjoin, surrealism, clamor, upmarket. innuendo, estranged, femininity, stynomycin, acclamation, guttural, untouchable, valet, malaise, canny, musty, dignitary, pentathlon, haggle, unrelenting, humanism, tussle, unwittingly, oblivion, tact, disarming, eternally, yardstick, summarily, tyrannical, decimal, embellish, mangle, temperamental, virile, reminiscent, spiteful, expedient, amused, pseudonym, culpable, toughen, slurp, quirk, enflame, barracks, wallop, profiteer, malapropism, dutiful, rickety, askance, repent, overstatement, attrition, travesty, fledge, conjectural, irradiation, shrill, connivance, cistern, pandemonium, payday, skiff, peninsular, veer, freehand, supersede, unassuming, avow, prowl, promulgate, opportune, preconceive, palatable, surreptitious, fetish, riffraff, nefarious, excursion, coalesce, tenuous, decompression, militarism, conclave, muggy, unceremonious, familiarize, despoiler, heathen, parenthetical, gripe, paradoxical, mother, unsophisticated, snobbish, voiceless, arbitrator, grimace, regularize, horde, morphology, configuration, gaff, brevity, humanistic, throwback, footless, obsessed, irreverent, discouraging, nerd, glitch, graphics, giddy, penthouse, lofty, outlay, bandy, maniac, fissile, hefty, infallible, overtax, farce, ceaseless, veritable, selfishness, atone, murky, duress, dispel, oilfield, hermetic, summons, bootleg, unbridgeable, astound, inexorable, nifty, decapitate, appendage, rotting, silicate, malformation, burrow, constrained, gigantism, overgrow, refraction, centralization, intermix, sandbank, restored, drove, methodically, senescent, mimicry, pelagic, multicellular, thespian, attune, retool, rebut, materialise, ligament, recline, frizzy, squint, forefinger, troubleshooting, cyberbully, downwards, layering, incise, primordial, urbanize, shroud, underwrite, tweak, reportage, suspender, unscented, dispensation, urea, spacious, fetter, embezzle, rive, jewelry, seclusion, bankbook, proletarian, emancipate, blurry, screensaver, inbold, administrate, hookworm, inoperative, tamarind, cobbler, clipping, bravura, trachoma, boneless, canter, impatient, douse, electrolyte, saucepan, culminate, concerning, peep, flattened, operable, exposed, psychoanalytic, testy, hematology, smelting, joyless, dilate, vesicle, tapioca, froth, pickerel, bluefish, continuance, defrost, faceless, wriggle, repugnance, distaste, enhancer, bicker, lustrous, ductile, palliate, gastroenterology, convoluted, chromatic, whilst, ooze, calamitous, coagulate, alveolus, quadruped, obligated, coincidental, thoroughfare, retiring, engross, homey, debilitate, homing, incessant, vasospasm, skewed, rejuvenate, hyaline, ectopic, monogamy, efficacious, agrarian, headlong, cyclic, chagrin, insensible, myopic, deferent, zoster, demobilize, tactful. Astray, chronicle, desolator, appendicitis, mist, kneecap, orthopedics, ischemia, hiccup, cerebellum. Clearness, hardtop, departmental, funded, recollect, staggered, precipitate, gravel, dietetics, workbench. Misreport, expository, espy, undersell, pigeon, impost, corruptible, hung, debrief, nonverbal. Erroneously, anatomical, flung, internationalization, retaining, ironical, baggy, ice, anachronistic, patronizing. Astounded, intemperate, dispassionate, adage, neighborhood, blatantly, arresting, glossary, impetus, paperweight. Sluice, orator, precariously, salvo, indices, farsighted, avid, clemency, interconnection, deregulation. Windscreen, enrollment, vigor, swindler, telex, signpost, pensioner, graphical, dietitian, substantiate. Spongy, compaction, whitlow, silage, viscosity, intrigue, muddle, accountancy, flowerbed, diversification. Ruminant, porcine, fixation, augmentation, fortnight, lampoon, obelisk, dinghy, welter, insouciant. Insouciance, descending, underpants, band, appropriateness, stub, argumentative, invocation, muted, headwind. Quotidian, deluxe, rapture, meld, overlay, wily, vicariously, pliable, antihero, ruins. Review, logger, devotional, ardent, needlework, charade, broil, asymmetrical, sublimate, kickoff. Respite, soloist, drapery, russet, reputed, repertorial, environmentalism, hotbed, rosette, listed. Prospecting, materialism, beguile, matinee, inaudible, deflated, reshuffle, sacrilege, masked, didactic. Surpassingly, rendering, brocade, stationary, demote, personable, riveting, dazzling, reprise, clientele. Trove, rawhide, merchandising, dewdrop, ornamentation, moonshine, excitable, unanswerable, affection, sequential. Raging, swerve, archway, poetical, rhinestone, deference, yoke, bosom, stairs, peony. Delude, hasten, interlace, stairwell, quicksilver, chosen, scandalize, voluptuous, delirium, sunstroke. Subtlety, earshot, inglorious, lunacy, smoothed, handedness, apocrypha, premonition, underpass, eek. Cob, screech, scrounge, comatose, undertaker, husbandry, extravaganza, paymaster, nonsuch, eldest. Balloonist, cantata, lips, trance, gaily, illuminati, puss, dross, scuff, corduroy. Toad, exhaustive, heme, asymmetry, bacteria, tundra, projecting, contiguous, turbid, isotopic. Valence, discrete, fluctuating, converter, fluctuation, deformation, deluge, croak, materially, seduct. Precinct, ballpoint, sharpener, sunglasses, chronology, mimetic, blooming, favor, churchyard, debility. Cognate, platypus, delimit, frond, suspiciously, nephritis, hominid, optics, amulet, pith. Excitability, apace, Otitis, toothache, brilliantly, rustle, delicately, seclude, petroglyph, electrodynamic. Condensed, lyrically, silversmith, transmutation, know-how, kidding, invective, putrid, emissary, meditative. Terminus, angular, viaduct, cloy, formalized, pirouette, rampage, sire, zephyr, amplitude. Flabby, zesty, tannic, masterful, romanticism, indomitable, spatter, luminary, painstakingly, handsomely. Scoundrel, truancy, faultless, nicety, pretentious, scintillate, forthright, impermanent, forward, nipper. Derma, analyzer, soapstone, homestay, stereoscopic, nepotism, freestanding, tonic, bobsleigh, soaring. Impertinence, abrasion, uncivil, libertine, feudal, flaunt, indistinct, perjury, rebuff, transgress. Reassessment, ominous, subjugation, sodden, premeditated, thereto, sanctity, evanescent, perspicacious, portent. Knighthood, ignoble, inviolable, impel, aloft, toleration, sprig, cavalryman, deserter, emigrant. Earlier, wretch, revile, infrequently, indecisive, workstation, householder, criteria, subordination, makeshift. Deadlock, autocrat, upstanding, unbend, homogeneity, ordeal, crinkle, oddball, delineate, boastful. Drench, scrum, flannel, rumpled, rumple, khaki, facing, deserved, desirous, scentless. Managerial, impediment, abstinent, debase, indescribable, harrowing, feverish, floodlight, tenacious, dogma. Frantically, reverent, shorthand, altruism, godly, floorboard, playroom, climactic, ecclesiastical, headstrong. Relegate, ocular, reticent, fro, ebb, chasm, facelift, cranky, ludicrous, spontaneity. Skimp, flay, tried, evildoer, boisterous, plenitude, guillotine, dues, poncho, greyhound. Torrent, candlestick, revised, grudgingly, pestilential, profess, solemnity, fallacy, reproach, dote. Utterance, interweave, abode, chopper, moat, magpie, cadence, snappy, spun, interpolate. Steamroller, implore, republication, oleaginous, ambidextrous, neoclassical, gargoyle, trusty, regatta, tangy. Hovel, human, glasses, quintet, swank, chariot, investigatory, tonal, buttermilk, namesake. Ably, boarding house, obtuse, whimsical, foray, inroad, exacting, immunoregulation, infield, neurosis. Highroad, unintelligible, finesse, was, scriptwriter, zany, rhubarb, hypocrisy, maneuver, bemoan. Entourage, dependent, pinhead, ilium, herein, dawning, dogged, heliotrope, shapely, damned. Gridiron, croon, nonchalance, blithe, deckhand, bequeath, oddly, holster, implacable, illusion. Governess, denouement, birdcage, expressionless, quiver, checkered, perplexed, lurid, symmetric, contemplative. Contemplation, apportion, lusty, scornful, discomfited, cunningly, composed, tremulous, outspread, rigidly. Disbelieve, hanger, balmy, thereabout, flourishing, materialistic, desolation, famish, lithograph, dainty. Profanation, furtive, supplicate, salutation, postscript, detest, boding, drowse, prophesy, toothsome. Lenient, leafless, unbutton, pester, craziness, pompous, blurred, yaw, enticing, lichen. Unthankful, insured, toady, aimless, killjoy, gossiping, specification, seesaw, unreserved, regards. Dissociate, lattice, entreaty, rashly, hither, rayon, renown, exhilaration, digress, superficially. Acrophobia, forethought, idiocy, falseness, nightgown, buoyant, myth, shabby, tarpaulin, unattainable. Brassy, shrewd, untruth, nourishing, nauseate, newscaster, misname, elegantly, unchain, even-handed. Borderland, misty, abatement, quadrangle, electing, satiric, nonsensical, satirize, unlearned, potpourri. Nonspecific, prejudicial, inborn, incrustation, pussy, inoculate, tryout, horsey, disillusionment, uneasily. Sociable, edifice, signet, tentatively, chum, physiotherapy, intermediary, unshaken, incomparable, ramble. Handlebar, skyward, bandana, disarrange, disallow, prong, skewer, entitled, veiled, depopulate. Gnaw, environs, afresh, ranching, burned, mat, forte, bigoted, reassuring, prejudge. Unprofitable, crypt, rustic, overexploit, nickel, sulfate, herdsman, formalize, watertight, misdirect. Recurring, bylaw, absorbing, xeroderma, dispossess, estrange, interject, jasmine, conceited, bather. Contrived, pontifical, wraith, tasteful, vendetta, unrepentant, hunchback, dehydrated, learned, quietness. Documented, revered, fixer, covet, taxing, boardroom, conjure, sieve, symmetrical, sportman. Dressy, seismograph, inebriate, cilia, corresponding, analog, unobstructed, perjure, philology, inadmissible. Poorhouse, admittedly, begin, arbitrarily, perpetually, flail, parch, miserably, dismantling, burdensome. Meritorious, underestimated, anal, hygrometer, buttock, photocopy, protestation, enforced, unsuitable, duodenum. Miscalculate, sophisticate, gaunt, repressed, viscid, ineffectual, strontium, regency, snowbound, iridescent. Tantamount, accelerating, alumna, dizzying, yielding, facetious, underprivileged, venerable, botch, traceable. Macabre, affluence, reforming, anarchic, bombast, entree, malign, subsystem, hangings, drawbridge. Laterally, precipitous, dismount, countenance, soundly, scores, sunless, hydration, forego, regressive. Excruciate, calculating, jettison, approximate, indignity, carnivorous, amity, sanctification, rudimentary, bicarbonate. Repairable, confide, irrespective, cleanest, howler, ashtray, nib, acquiesce, slosh, grotesque. Pedal, duplication, comedienne, immobilize, spectacularly, retrench, dazed, disgruntle, dispense, mechanize. Tribulation, subsequently, homily, ungodly, linked, wayward, persimmon, resolved, mire, converted. Payable, neighboring, bereave, alight, distillation, midfielder, motherly, libretto, countertop, filth. Transgression, quash, rout, minnow, melodrama, irreconcilable, hegemony, non-radioactive, idolatry, bonny. Readjust, compulsion, bitch, shining, ruthlessness, eraser, unfathomable, offensively, envisage, illuminated. Unpalatable, hamstring, unlicensed, luster, droll, chubby, thistle, emblematic, covertly, wit. Inattentive, inkling, monolithic, tantalizing, laity, postmortem, sadden, capillary, lactose, habituate. Unconscionable, inept, disintegrate, subdivide, compensatory, impatiently, hubris, besmirch, reinterpretation, revert. Squander, bramble, milieu, galvanization, canto, dichotomy, intercom, faithfulness, urology, recital. Checkmate, enthrall, increasing, incapacity, averse, unpleasantly, aggravating, fastidious, correlative, magically. Insincerity, hostess, checked, layover, aren't, obnoxious, lexical, captivating, preface, flowchart. Appease, thorny, insufferable, liven, expanding, impersonation, labored, cuneiform, smashed, punctual. Eon, added, switchboard, hacksaw, anticipated, sealed, tripod, introspective, introspection, yawn. Omen, sitcom, quip, furor, plurality, repulse, disconcerting, seamlessly, dismayed, equivocal. Telltale, adjoin, rave, fatherland, warped, unendurable, disrepute, squabble, predetermined, animus. Deviant, cynic, fervor, cheers, vexatious, airmail, sentry, bridegroom, fulfillment, buttress. Sleazy, hooligan, pre-war, recoverable, investiture,